Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Divide and Conquer, where we learn how to conquer those pesky divisions which have given some of you some trouble. But that's okay, because we are going to divide and conquer. And today, you are here to learn about, or to really understand a little bit more deeply, short division as a means to divide, as a method to divide. You are either about to learn how to use short division, or you've been asked to come here to make sure that you understand what is happening when you use the compact vertical method, when you use column division, short division. So, if you've got your pencil, if you've got your paper, let's go. Some of you will watch all of the video. Some of you will watch just some of the video. But whatever the case, I hope you are ready to divide and conquer. Okay, before we jump into short dividing, I want to say that I have seen lots of you doing some fantastic dividing in your maths. You have been using the short division method in order to solve your divisions, which is great. I want to be sure that you actually understand what is going on, which is why I have asked all of you to watch this video. Do you know what you're doing, or are you just putting some numbers in place? Let's be sure. I'd like you to start by casting your mind back to the very first video in this series, where we looked at what division actually means. We started with a really easy division, 20 divided by 5. And there were different ways of looking at that division. One of the ways, we used a nice bar model to say that we were starting with 20, and we wanted to see how many groups of 5 we could make until we got to 20. So in other words, we were really asking how many 5s in 20. In other words, 5 times what is 20? And I said to you that we'd be coming back to it. Now's the time. We're coming back to it. So it's a different way of thinking about dividing. We started with the easiest way to think about it, whereas you start with an amount and then you share it out into equal groups. And then we shared it out into equal groups and found if we had any remaining. Now, we're going to change it up a bit. And we're going to think of it like this. How many groups of a certain amount can we fit into the whole amount that we started with? Looking at that bar model, 20 divided by 5, we're saying how many 5s fit into 20. That's easy because we know our 5 times table. However, let's go back to the very first division we started when we started making things a little bit more interesting. We started with 80 divided by 5, right? I'd like to point out to you, I'm going to come back to this again. This is really important, though, that you understand that 80 divided by 5 is also saying 5 into 80. How many 5s fit into 80? Also, just by the way, this is also equal to 80 out of 5. 5 into 80. All of those statements, all of those ways of representing this division are equal. They all have the same quotient. They all yield the same result. If you understand that, then that's the first hurdle. Good. Now, let's have a look back at this. The last time we looked at this, we started with 80 sweets and we divided it between 5 people. This time, we're going to just switch our thinking a little bit, and we're going to say, instead of starting with 80, dividing between 5, now we're going to say, how many 5s can we fit into 80? Or 5 times what is 80? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at that dividing sign, and that conquer those 1 for me, 1 for you. Because we switched up our way of thinking it, those 1 for me, 1 for you is just going to kick the line in that dividing sign and make it into a division bracket. Right there we have a division bracket. I think it looks a little bit like a bus stop. We're not supposed to call it the bus stop, but I like to think it does look like a bus stop. So I am going to call it a bus stop. So if I wanted to say how many 5s in 80, that's how I'm going to write it. How many 5s can I fit into 80? If I had groups of 5 and I had 80 spaces in my bus, how many groups of those 5 can I fit into the 80 in the bus? And please do notice that I have notated the 10s and the 1s. This is a columnar method. We are calculating in columns, so let us please make sure that we're very clear on where the different places are in the number, and that we make sure that we line up our digits in the right places, just like we do for any other calculation. So far, so good. Let's continue. This is what it looked like last time. Started with 80, shared out 5 between 5. This is what we're going to do this time. We've got our groups of 5 waiting to get in to the bus stop. And to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to use a shortcut, a little maths cheat. As long as you get it, this is why we're all watching, as long as you get it, then you're good to go. I'm saying, how many 5s can I fit into 8? Because I know it's not just 8, it's 8 10s. I'm really saying, just like I did back here, 8 10s. Remember, we shared out the 10s first? I'm saying, how many 5s fit into 8 10s? But to make it quick, to make it easier, I'm going to leave the 10s to the side, just like we did with addition and subtraction and multiplication. As long as I know that it's 8 10s, we're good. How many 5s in 8 10s? Now you probably know that 5 goes into 8 only once. You can only fit 5 into 8 one time. But just to prove it, here we go. Of course, 8 10s, 5 into 8 10s. Here I've got my 5 people and my 8 10s of sweets. Maybe they're like those little like love hearts. Maybe they're like those like 10 of those little love heart sweets in a packet. Let's think of it like that. One packet of 10. And each child gets one packet of those 10 love hearts. Yes? There happen to be 3 packets left over, but each child gets one. That's if we share those 8 packets out evenly. And so, I say 5 goes into 8 one time. And I'm going to put that 1 above the 8, because 5 goes into 8 one time. And yes, it's in the 10s column. We've got to keep it all lined up. So there we have it. 5 into 8 10s one time. Marvelous. But is it? No, it's not. Did you remember that there were 3 packets of 10 left over when I shared those 8 packets between 5. You could say, Miss Tinder, you can just have, go on, you have those 3 packets of 10. And I would say, you're in my will. You're on my Christmas card list. But it's not very mathematical. We can't just leave those 3 packets of 10 lying around hoping they'll just disappear. We gotta do something with them. We're gonna do a kind of exchange. We had 3 10s. They were left over. But I still have some numbers in my columns. What am I going to do? Can you guess? Very clever. If you realize that those 3 10s can be exchanged over into the ones column. And those 3 10s now look become 30. It looks like 30 because it is 30. This is why I want you to watch the video so that you get it, what you're doing. So now we're ready to move over to the next column. We've divided into the 10s column. It is worth noting that in order to fit into the bus stop, we start with the place that has the greatest value first, not the least value. Unlike addition and subtraction and multiplication, division, with this division bracket, we're squeezing into the bus stop, so we're going to start with the digit place that has the greatest value. We started with the 10s, we're done with the 10s, now we're ready to go to the 1s. And it's not just 1s because we had 3 10s remaining. 3 10s together with the 0 1s is 30. So, I still have 30 left out to share. So I'm trying to fit now 5, groups of 5, into 30 spaces on the bus. And I'm asking myself then, how many 5s can I fit into 30? Hopefully you know that because you know your 5 times table. But just to prove it, let's have a look. Here we go. Share them out. 5, 10, 15, 5. And don't have any more 5s I can share out, so I go 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I've shared it out. Each child has 6. There we go. I'm saying 5 into 30. 5 times what is 30? 5 times 6 is 30. Either way you look at it, the answer is the same. 5 goes into 30 6 times. Goes into 30. How many 5s can I fit into 30? 5 times what is 30? Yes, it's 6. And so, because I'm dividing in the 1s column, I'm going to put my 6 in the 1s column above the digit, above the place where I was dividing into. And that is why, my friends, whichever way you do it, you will still get an answer of 16. The quotient of 80 divided by 5 is 16. If you understand that very well, and you've been doing short division, you may leave this video now. Be sure you get it though. You may leave this video now and carry on with your math work. For those of you who are a little bit new to it, who still aren't quite sure, or who would like that little bit of reassurance, stay right here with your paper and your pencil. We've done the I do. Now it's time for we do. Are you ready to do some divisions with me? Let's go. Here we are then. I would like for you to write on your paper 73 divided by 4. how are you going to do it? Well, you already know one way that you can do it, but we're trying the short division method, the compact vertical method of dividing in columns. So you need to set out a division bracket where you are trying to fit 4 into a bus stop with 73 places. Have you written that out? If you haven't, pause the video and have a go. What happens next? Well, we're saying how many 4s can we fit into 7? Of course, it's 7 10s. And you should be able to work out that 4 goes into 7 only one time. But if you're not sure, I've just proved it. And you can see each child gets 1 of those, whatever. But there are 3 remaining. What are we going to do with the 3? We've put the 1 above the 7 because we were dividing into the 10s column. But we have 3 remaining. Of course, that's 3 10s. So, let's put the 3 10s exchanged really small just in front of the 1s column. Now, we're saying 4 goes into 33 how many times? By the way, if you need to pause the video to keep up, that's okay. Pause the video and have a go. If you need to rewind, if you need to scrub it back and work it through step by step, that's okay too. Take as long as you need. Here we are then. We were there saying 4 has gone into 7 once. There were 3 remaining. I still have a place, I still have a digit in the 1s which has not been divided, and I've got 3 10s left over. I exchange the 3 10s in front of the 3 1s, which now means that I'm looking at how many times does 4 go into 33. Hopefully, you're using your 4 times tables knowledge to get as close as you can to 33 without going over. If you haven't got the sweets, you can't share them out. You can go under, but you can never go over. Who remembered this? I don't know what he ate that for. It gave him dirty poo. 8 times 4 is 32. Hopefully you used your times tables knowledge to help you, which is why we've been doing so much work on our times tables. If not, you can always do a quick bit of sharing and you'll still see, either way, that 32 is as close as you can get. Sharing out 33 between 4 gives you 8 with 1. Okay? So because it fit in 8 times, I put the 8 in the 1s column above the 3, which was also in the 1s column. But of course, there was 1 remaining. Why have I put remainder 3? I have no idea. That was remainder 1. See the value of checking your work, right? I had 1 left over, so I need to make sure that I show that there is 1 remaining, ready for the pirate to come and take it away. 8 remainder 1. That was the we do. If you need to check it, scrub back, take a break. If you're ready, it's just about time for you to try one on your own. We did I do, then we did we do. Now it's time for you do. It's you. Are you ready? Please could you write down on your paper 458 divided by 6. 458 divided by 6. Okay, pause the video, work it out, come back here, and we'll see how we got on. Did you do this? By the way, if you want to, please note that if it helps you to use 0 as a placeholder when you're dividing, you may. You don't need to, of course, in this instance. You can say, how many times does 6 go into 4? 0 times, and put a 0 there. Or you can just say, well, I know it doesn't go into 4, and I'm going to move over from the hundreds column to the tens column. How many times does 6 go into 45? You're really saying, how many times does 6 go into 4,500? Of course, as you know. Well, 6 goes into 45 7 times, because 6 times 7 is 42. So if 6 times 7 is 42, and we're trying to get to 45, there's a difference of 3. There are 3 remaining, and we still have a digit in our bracket which has not been divided yet. So we had 8 ones, but we had 3 tens left over, which we exchanged, very small superscript, into the ones column. Now we're saying 6 goes into 38. How many 6s can we fit into 38? 6 times 6 is 36. That's the closest we can get. So it goes in 6 times, but there's 2 left over. So 458 divided by 6 is 76, with a remainder of 2. If you got that right, great, fabulous. If not, rewind, take a break, try it again. If this is completely flustering you, fret not, my friends. Go back, use your pictures, and when you're ready, come back and watch this video again. But now, my lovely little mathematicians, it's time for me to, and it's time for you to work. I'll see you back here on our next edition of Divide and Conquer, perhaps, but I think we might be moving on to fractions next. We shall see. Until then, have good fun dividing and conquering.